أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
Right, we'll continue inshallah. We'll just go through the slides very quickly, and we started off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking for His help and for asking for His forgiveness, and we'll just go quickly flick through the slides as a memory jog inshallah.
Because sometimes when you keep on shot with him, it's going to be boring. So you can see who he's talking to. So when we get used to this technical stuff,
okay, so a couple of points here, brothers and sisters. One is that Islam is really a relationship than a religion, as I mentioned yesterday. Make sure you give an effective answer, because giving answers we can all do, of course, but it's being an effective answer. Okay, we have to remember what we're inviting to. It's La ilaha illallah, and with La ilaha illallah we need to remove any false gods, and the false god in this society is Jesus, whether it's a Christian or really whether it's atheist, because the atheist is also thinking that if I followed religion it would be Christianity, definitely not Islam. When we'll come back, we'll come to later why it should be Islam and why it has to be Islam inshallah. We've been through some essential beliefs of Christianity, or the essential beliefs of Christianity. And we mentioned the jam technique, which focuses on our beliefs and their beliefs. And we came to the key question. I'm going to stop here for one moment, and this is the key question. I'd like you to remember this. And I think if Muslims went round asking this question to Christians, Christianity is really finished. Christianity is really finished. You know, this one question would finish Christianity. It's important to keep it simple, brothers and sisters, inshallah. Some essentials: being focused, being gentle, as we said on here, being humble, brothers and sisters, inshallah, being really, really polite, inshallah, following a path towards the Quran, not towards debate and not towards rules and regulations, not to get distracted with other points, having some passion and not emotion. And I do apologize. With humor and with comedy you can offend people, and apparently the brother who made a comment about this, apparently he does have some problems with eyesight or something like that, and I did apologize to him. I'm very sorry about that. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, this is the key that we need to follow. From natural disasters, this really with atheists, we go on to purpose of life, creator existence and attributes, prophets and miracles, and going on to the Quran. With Christians, we talk about Jesus, and then we go this way. And with others, again, we go on to the creator existence and attributes. How we do this is what we're going to cover today, inshallah, which we haven't done. Okay, we've been through some aspects of psychology. Okay, attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How the Christians are giving da'wah, we learned a little bit about that. Okay, this is where we stopped. Why believe in God? Okay, right. And this is where we start, inshallah. Because why do we need to believe in God? Okay. Now, a big problem for people in the society, and I've added this fairly recently because the brother said to me at university after some of the training, and he said to me that the problem is, of course, believing in God, but he said a big problem is apathy. Okay, why should I believe in God? It really doesn't matter. Okay, and some of this I've added because of that reason, and because there has to be good reason why they should believe in God. And we're going to cover that inshallah here. Now, you see, the thing is, for the average person, believing in God, there are lots of disadvantages, okay? And there are no advantages. Believing in God, there are lots of disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of believing in God for the average person, for the atheist?
How they can fulfill desires.
That's right. You can't do this, you can't do that. That's what religions say. That's what the atheist's perception is. And therefore, there's lots of disadvantages. And there are no advantages. Okay, for the atheist, there might be some sort of an advantage after you die. But who knows when that's going to happen. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. That's what they're thinking. Okay, so lots of disadvantages, as it says on here. But there's no advantages of believing in God. What we've got to do is really show there are lots of advantages and there are no disadvantages. Okay, so really we've got to take the disadvantages and convert them into advantages. And that's what we're going to do, inshallah. Okay, right. Big problem is apathy. This is where this new slides come in about apathy, because apathy is a big problem. I just don't care. Okay, it's not there is a God or not. It's not about, yes, I'm an atheist because it doesn't make sense to believe in God, but I really don't care. Apathy. Okay, that's a big problem in society, especially in universities, and that's why I put this in here. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you is, you need to give reasons why they should believe in God. Why? Can you brothers tell me why? What's the advantage of believing in God? What will you tell someone who is an atheist the advantages of believing in God? What's the advantage of believing in God? If you tell me, please, brothers. And remember, it's a dawah situation, okay? So what are you going to say? Now, let me just say, because somebody said to me after yesterday's training that, brother, you were very hard on the people who answered. They were very brave to answer, and then you criticize them, and they're going to be scared to answer today. Okay? Now, the thing is, don't be scared to answer today. It's a learning process. It's a workshop. And if you give an answer which is not the best answer, we're going to learn from it. And please don't be offended if I do criticize you, but we're going to learn, inshallah. We're all learning from it. And be brave. And I think anybody who has a go at answering is very, very brave. Okay, he's the brave guy. Whether he gets it right or wrong, he's the brave guy. So that's the brave guy. So the other people who are keeping quiet, that's easy. Easy to keep quiet. It's brave to put your head on the chopping block and say, yes, this is what I would do. Okay, it's wrong, not a problem. Okay. So, brothers, what do you think? What are the advantages of believing in God? What are you going to say? You need some good reasons. What are you going to say? One brother's put his hand up.
You've got purpose.
Okay. So you'd say to the guy, it's purpose in life. But you see, the problem is, the brother said, it gives purpose to our life. You see, the problem with that brother is that if you say this to an atheist, it gives you purpose in life, he'll say, no, I've already got purpose. It's like, you see, the problem with saying purpose is that it's like saying it just gives you something to do. You're getting bored. Okay, why do you play PlayStation? Because it gives me something to do. Okay, so it's like we've got religion because it gives us something to do. Otherwise, we just get really bored. We get really bored on Fridays, so we go to the mosque. Christians get bored on Sundays, so they go to the church. Okay, there's nothing else to do. All the shops are closed or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it gives us purpose, and that doesn't make sense. And the atheist is thinking, if that's the reason for religion, then his opinion is correct, which is that religion was created for people to do something. It's like PlayStation or any game, you know. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that some people have made their religion their pastime. Allah tells us that in the Quran, that some people have made their religion their pastime and their play. It's like something to do. It's an entertainment. And it isn't that. That's not the religion. That's not the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messengers for, okay? So that's not the reason really, brothers. And also, it's not a good answer, I would suggest. Brothers brave, mashallah, having a go, but that's how I would suggest. Remember, it's a dawah situation. It's not about accuracy. What you're saying, brother, is correct, All these answers are correct, but not the best answers in a dawah situation. This is what we're trying to learn, inshallah. Brother, please. I would suggest. Hopefully that answers it.
A lot of issues, a lot of events happening in life that are beyond human understanding become easier to understand.
Okay, so the brother says that a lot of things happen in life which are beyond our understanding, and this makes it easy to understand that. Yeah, I think that's a good answer, it makes it easy to understand things. But again, a problem with that is the brother saying that it makes us easy to understand why things are happening in the world. But the problem for the atheist is it sounds like an excuse. This disaster happens, so if you've got religion, then you can explain it and you feel better. Okay, so this is the problem. The atheist is thinking, okay, you have religion to make you feel better. It's an opium of the masses, as I think Karl Marx said, okay? And so you just feel better. You don't feel sad that 100, 200, 300,000 people died in the tsunami, but you know there's a reason, so it's okay, mate. You know, okay, somebody died of cancer, it's okay, you got a reason, so you don't feel so bad anymore. Okay, somebody suddenly died, but you've got a reason, so you don't feel, it gives you a bit of hope. Okay, so these are sort of answers. But the thing is, for the atheist, it's not really convincing. But it sounds as if you made it up just to feel better. It's like the atheist would say to us, I stopped believing in God when I stopped believing in Father Christmas. That's what they often say. And even if they don't say it, that's what they believe. Which means that it's there just to make you feel better. You tell children there's Father Christmas because it's something to look forward to. The presents come and explains everything and people are happy. So that's what God's there for. That's what they think. That's what the atheist is thinking. So yes, there are answers, but I would say they're not the best answers. What else could you say? Anything else, brothers, about why they should believe in God? The question is, why should the atheist... Okay, John, I think you should believe in God. Believe in God, even. And what does John say? John says, no, I don't need to believe in God. I'm fine. I'm happy the way I am. My life's fine. You know, I've got purpose. Yes, okay, disasters happen, but the world is a complicated place. There are earthquakes. There are tectonic plates. There are tsunamis happening. There are tidal waves. Planes crash, like the Malaysian Airlines disappeared. Things happen, but that's just, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but it is complicated. The world's complicated, but that doesn't mean that I've got to believe in God just to feel better. Anything else? Brothers? We're going to have a go. Young brother's going to have a go.
I think you should do that because it benefits you in afterlife.
Okay, so the young brother, mashallah, very brave. He said it benefits in the afterlife. Okay, this is a good answer. But it's a good answer because, of course, that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the prophets for, to tell us about the afterlife, to give us the good news. The good news is the afterlife. That's good, alhamdulillah. But again, for atheists do know that we believe that. They know that all religions say there is an afterlife, and that again gives you some sort of a hope. It makes you feel better. Oh, someone's died, it's okay, they've gone to heaven. All religions say this, but that's not convincing. They say, okay, fair enough, that's okay, it makes you feel better, but it doesn't prove anything. It just makes you feel better again. It's like the Father Christmas situation again. So yes, young man, you're very brave to have a go, and yes, it's part of the answer, but I would suggest we come to that later. Anything else people want to say? Otherwise I'm going to continue. I'll tell you what I would suggest. Well, brother's going to have a go, inshallah.
Usually when you start a conversation with them, you have to encourage them, because you need the first step, which you say, La ilaha. And
Okay, what we want is very specifically, what is the advantage of believing in God?
because what you're looking at is science, and we want to confirm what you think, the evolution, the Big Bang. So we agree with you, and we want to make sure that Islam is talking about what you think.
Okay, I don't see what the advantage is. You're saying we make sure Islam agrees with what you think? That means we're making Islam fit in with what you believe in. That means we're changing Islam. So, you see, the problem is...
What you think is already in Islam.
Okay, fine. So the brother's saying that part of what they think is already in Islam. Okay, fine, they'll say that's fine. It's very convenient. They'll say, fine, you've made a nice religion which agrees with what I believe in. You know, they'll think that you've made Islam. That's what they think. We've made Islam that agrees with science. So fair enough. They say, that's nice. That's very kind of you. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they have to believe in God. They'll say, fine, it agrees with what I believe in, that's fine. But I still don't believe in God. What I want you to say is some reasons of believing God. What's the advantage? Right, let me go through some advantages that I would use. Number one, you get a better and happier life. Okay? Now, do not use the word happy life, because if you say happy life to an atheist, then it sounds as if you're saying your life is miserable. And their lives, people who don't believe in God, are miserable. They're not really happy, which is why so many atheists are becoming Muslims, alhamdulillah, and they start believing in God. Their lives aren't happy, okay? And we see the rich and famous going into drugs and all sorts of abuse and drink problems and even committing suicide. We've seen that, right? So their lives aren't happy. But when you talk to an atheist, you don't say that your life's going to be happy, but you can say your life's going to be better and happier. That's what I would suggest. So, John, you don't believe in God, right, John? Okay, fine. You're an atheist. Brilliant. Okay, fine. But if you do believe in God, your life's going to be a lot happier. Right? Now, what's John going to say? John's going to say to me, but my life's happy. No, John, I understand. Your life is happy. I'm sure it's very happy, but it's going to be even happier. You see the point? That's important. They'll say, okay, fine. How? They want to know how. Right? Your relationship, John, your relationship with your children, if you've got children, your partner, your parents, is going to be even better. Okay, fine, I understand. Your relationship with your family and friends is good. That's fine. I'm not saying it isn't good, but it's going to be even better. This is what the Quran says. This is what the Hadith say of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's evidence for this. There's evidence for this, John, right? John, it's like having a rich guy, Richard Branson or Bill Gates, as your best friend. Okay. Now, it sounds strange to say that, but I had to, on one occasion, there were two ladies I was giving dawah to in the street, and telling them about God. They're not interested. Oh, there's no God and whatever. Two Caribbean sisters, and I said to them, imagine if a really rich, famous guy, Bill Gates, was your best friend. Would that be a good idea? What do you think? And one of the ladies thought for a moment. She's an atheist, and she said, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I said, why is that cool? Okay, why is that good? She goes, why so rich and famous? If he was my best friend, Bill Gates was my best friend, that'd be so brilliant. I said, right. Why? She said, because he's so rich. And which means, on another occasion, somebody else said to me that he'd have so much influence. They'd affect, they could help you in situations. I said, yeah, brilliant. Right, so they're very influential. I said to the atheist this. I said to an atheist guy recently, and I said to these atheist ladies a few months, maybe a year or two ago, I said to these ladies this. I said, so if Bill Gates was your best friend, would that be good? She said, yeah, that's cool. I said, imagine not the one who owns a few $1 billion is your best friend, but the one who owns the whole earth, the whole solar system, the whole universe, everything is your friend. Do you think it's a good idea? She said, yeah, that's cool. You see, suddenly it became cool. Someone who owns everything, controls everything, and the one who controls even a leaf doesn't fall from a tree, except he knows it, that's his power. He knows what you're thinking right now. He knows what everything, how everything is glorifying him, and he becomes your best friend. How can that be a bad thing? They'll say, yeah, that's cool. Now suddenly it's advantage. Now the disadvantage has become now there's a big advantage. This guy, for them, this guy, it's not a guy, okay, God is not a guy, but this being, he's going to be their friend. Sounds cool. He's influential, he's powerful, he owns everything. Sounds like a good idea, right? So that's what they said. And you've got to use it in worldly terms. If you start off with God, they don't want to know. But if you say a rich guy, Bill Gates or Richard Branson or whoever, then it's a good thing. However, one occasion I got thrown out, and that video is on YouTube. I said to the guy, and you've seen the guy, Renato, who became Muslim a few weeks ago, Alhamdulillah, atheist, and I said the same thing to him. He threw me out. Because the videos are live videos. On YouTube, they're all live. They're not edited and so on. I said, imagine a rich guy becomes your best friend. Is that good? He goes, he's an atheist. And he's collecting money for charity. And you can see the video on YouTube. Renato becomes Muslim. Atheist becomes a Muslim. I think it's called. And I said this to him, and he said, well, not really. He said, I'm not really interested in money. Throw me out. Okay, so I said, and he said, the rich guy, there are two types of rich guy. This is what he said to me in the video. He said, there are two types of rich guy. There's a rich guy who is rich by helping people, and he feels happy, which means spiritually rich. And the other guy is rich by having monetary wealth. But I prefer the guy who's rich spiritually. And this is an atheist. Atheists saying this threw me out completely. But anyway, that's rare. But the usual thing is, most atheists will say it's a good thing, right? And we go on that. Now, the other thing is here, why believe in God? Rich and famous aren't happy. Hence the higher level of drink, drugs and suicide. Okay. Now, also we can learn from the life of Michael Jackson, who actually became a Muslim. Okay. Now, if they say, and some people say, and many comments on YouTube saying, no, I get many messages saying Michael Jackson hasn't become a Muslim. Even Muslims saying this. Look, if we ask a sheikh, I'm talking about Sheikh Google, if you ask Sheikh Google whether Michael Jackson, type in Michael Jackson, did he become a Muslim, you get lots of evidence he became a Muslim. Okay. Some people say, no, he wasn't a proper Muslim with a long beard and everything else. Fine, he became a Muslim. There's evidence for it. Why do we want to call him a non-Muslim, a disbeliever, or a disbeliever? Yeah, disbeliever, because there's evidence that he became a Muslim. Now, the point is I'm trying to make here is, look, the rich and famous aren't really happy. You say to the average person, look, what we're aspiring for is lots of money and wealth and comfort and nice cars and big houses and right, and beautiful partners, right? These rich, famous people, they've got it. True or not, John? John, haven't these people got all this wealth and so on? And we all want it. Isn't that true, John? He's going to say yes. That's what we're all working for, right? We're all working hard to get money. But imagine if you became that rich and that famous, right? Brilliant. Is that good, John? John's going to say yes. John thinks, yes, that's true. We do want that. These people have it. I don't want to name any names. These famous football players, pop stars, and whatever, film stars, have got there, and they're still not happy. They've got what we want, and they're not happy. Isn't that amazing? And how do we know they're not happy? Because they're into drink and drugs. Many of them commit suicide. Many of them do all sorts of abuse of children and other people. So it shows their wealth hasn't brought happiness to them. And what it shows, and the other thing that shows that it hasn't brought them happiness, is many of them are coming to Islam. Michael Jackson, as I put on there, became a Muslim. By the way, Michael Jackson here is not saying that he was into drink and drugs and suicide. It's saying that he became a Muslim. Why? Because it's necessary to become a Muslim to be happy. That's what we're telling them. And that's why people like Chris Eubanks, the boxer, Mike Tyson, the boxer, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the snooker player, he became Muslim, Muhammad Ali, the boxer, Cat Stevens, a pop singer. There's a long, long list of rich and famous people that have become Muslims, okay? And it's growing very fast still. So it shows you there must be something that Islam offers them. Look, if Islam tells them they have to pray 5 times a day, and they've got loads and loads of money, and they've got the houses and the cars, why should they pray 5 times a day? What has that given them? What is that praying 5 times a day given them that billions or millions or billions of pounds hasn't given them? There must be something. So you tell them this, the average guy, they say, that's true. Okay, right, we continue. Unless anybody wants to say anything. Okay, the other thing is, what I say is that, look, they might say, yes, I believe in God. I've got some sort of connection. They may be theists, believe in God. Sorry, brother. Brother's put his hand out. I'll come back to that in a moment. And they may say, yes, I do believe in God. I don't need to be a Muslim. I'm a theist. It's called a theist. I believe in God. I don't need to follow religion. Religion gives me rules and regulations. I believe in God, and I've got some connection with God. I do my own prayers in my own way. Fine. Yes, you do have a connection. Yes, John, you do have a connection with God, but you've got dial-up connection, or you've got ordinary broadband connection, John. It's time you get fiber optic connection or satellite connection. You get a better connection, mate, okay? You stop dial-up and go for fiber optic. You can get a better connection. Okay. Look, about disconnected mobile and fulfilling the contract. I'll put in here because look, John, you're an atheist, right? And you're, as a human being, we're all valuable, right? Your mobile phone, whether it's Samsung or iPhone or whatever, valuable, right? It's valuable. Okay, it's iPhone 5S now, but by the time somebody's watched on YouTube, it might be iPhone 20 or something, right? But the point is that the phone is valuable. Without a connection, John, is it valuable? Without connectivity, without connection to a mobile phone network, is it valuable? No, it's not valuable. He's going to agree. The guy says it's not really valuable because it's only valuable when it can connect. The same way, the human being, John, is valuable as a human being. We're all valuable. You're valuable as an atheist, right? But if you get connected with the Creator, it's like the mobile phone being connected to the mobile phone network. Okay, then it gives it real value. Otherwise, it's got some value. It looks nice, okay, and you can carry around and show, look, I've got the latest phone. But without being able to use it, it's not that valuable. And the same thing. That's an example I give. Okay, it's also about fulfilling the contract. Look, John, you don't believe in God, John. The Creator has made a contract, and that contract is for us. Do you know what the contract is? You're putting them on the back foot. You ask them, do you know what the contract is? They'll say, I don't know what the contract is. Okay, let me tell you what the Islamic view is. Okay, if they're very resistant to Islam, then I say to them, let's tell you what the Islamic view is, what the contract is. Look, this contract is very simple, John. God has made a contract for us, and this contract says, you could hold a piece of paper. This contract says, let me get a piece of paper, 1 second. It's a blank piece of paper. John, this is a contract that God has made. This is like a contract, right? And in this contract, God has written this contract for us. And in this contract, God says that if we connect with, we have a relationship with, we know God, which means to worship God alone. We have a connection with Him, being connected. If we're connected with Him, then He's promised us not only a happier life on this earth, but He promises paradise. You're going to go into heaven forever. Okay. You say, okay, fine, I've heard about that, but I don't know when it's going to happen. Okay. And then maybe you can describe heaven. Okay. Rivers and milk and honey and wine. On one occasion, I was talking with an atheist, and I said this to him, and the guy goes, I don't believe in God, mate. You know, I don't believe in God. It's rubbish, whatever. He goes, it's rubbish. I said, look. He's not interested, right? He's an ordinary guy in the street in London. He doesn't want to know, mate. Okay. So what I said to him, I said, look, mate. What do you do, mate? I enjoy my life. It's all right, mate. Yeah, I get drunk. Drink lots of alcohol. I get drunk. That's fine. Okay. That's what he said to me, right? I said, look, when you go to paradise, mate, you're going to get a river of beer. He goes, you're lying. I said, no. It says that in the Quran. He says, no, that's not true. I said, okay, it doesn't say beer in the Quran. It says a river of wine. It's a river of wine, mate. Are you happy with that? He goes, that's cool. That's all right, mate, yeah. Tell me a bit more. He's suddenly happy. He's suddenly happy to have a river of beer in paradise. You're going to have a river of lager, mate, tenants in paradise? Do you want a river of tenants, mate? You're all right, mate? Okay, fine. Now, just sign this contract. No. Now, he's got interested, right? This guy was interested. And then you continue. Okay, now he's interested. Okay, what's going to happen? Okay, the beautiful partners or the haphazard, whatever they're interested in. The other thing is, brothers and sisters, for ladies, I'll give you another example. If you tell people you can have all sorts of food in paradise, in the Western world, they say, well, I can buy everything anyway. I just go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Waitrose or whatever, depending on how posh you are, and I go and buy the food. It's the same food, but right, you just pay a bit more, and you can carry the right carrier bag. But now, or Harrods. So the thing is that's fine. So they can eat all the food anyway. So when God says in the Quran that you can have whatever your heart's desire and the food that you can only imagine, they say, I get it anyway, mate. Right? Okay, I might not get enough of it, but I can eat it. What I say is something different. I say this to them. You're going to go into paradise and you're going to have all sorts of food. Do you know that? They know that. It's like obvious, right? It's like common sense. The Bible doesn't say this, only Islam says. There's no other religion says this, by the way, but it's like common sense to them. It's like, obviously you will. Right. And you'll be able to eat what you like, and you don't need to worry about your figure. And you don't need to worry about the calories. You can have millions of calories. Sounds good? And the lady goes, wow, that's cool. You're not going to put on any weight, love. Brilliant. Sounds all right. Okay, that's what I said. And she said, okay, tell me a bit more. Now they're interested. Before, eating the food wasn't interesting, but if you don't put on calories and weight and your figure's the same and you can eat it's fine. So okay, different approach. Okay, we continue. Okay, now the young brother mentioned about good news, about paradise. I put that last on the list because that's right at the end. They know that we believe in that there's going to be some sort of heaven or paradise or something. All religions say this. So you come back to the end and you can describe. And Quran's descriptions of paradise are beautiful, and you can go through that, inshallah, and that should affect them, inshallah. Continue. Signposting. It's important to do some signposting here. Have we missed about how to stop people? That comes later. I'm not sure. Huh? Can I just go back a minute, 1 minute? Have I missed the slide? Yes, I missed the slide actually, I'm sorry. I missed a slide. Okay. Okay. Okay, right, we should have covered this earlier, but anyway, let's just do it now. One of the things we need to do is, one of the difficulties brothers and sisters have, I think, well, brothers who give street dawah, sisters don't give street dawah with us, brothers have is, how do we stop people, okay? So what I'm going to do is, we're going to do a little role play at the front here of how we stop people. And this is what I'm going to show you, okay? And if you can see here, we can see, look, this is how I would stop people. Excuse me, important message, excuse me, are you a Christian? Can I ask you a question about Jesus? The important thing to remember is for Muslims, for us the most important thing is Allah, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Almighty God, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And the Quran and so on. Imagine if we're walking in the street, we're going shopping, right? We're going shopping, and some guy walks up to us. He doesn't look like a Muslim, and he comes up to the brothers and he goes, "Excuse me, mate, don't know, you look like a Muslim, mate. Can you tell me about Allah?" What? You can leave everything, right? You leave your shopping and say, "Sorry, what do you want to know about Allah?" Or he says to you, "Excuse me, mate, can you tell me about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him?" Sorry, you leave your shopping. Sorry, what do you want to know about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Can you tell me, mate, I really want to know about the Quran. Can you tell me about the Quran? So what do you want to know about the Quran? You see, these are important things for us. For the Christian, the important thing is Jesus. So that's why we start with Jesus, okay? If you talk about God or Islam or Quran, they don't want to know, right? Maybe even God, they don't really want to know. Jesus, they're going to stop. And that's how I stop people. And I'm going to do a demonstration here. We'll just go on to the next bit here. Do you believe Jesus is God or that he was sent by God? This is how we do it. And then, you don't believe in God. Can I prove to you that God exists? If they say they don't believe in God, we go on to this. Right, okay. Right, we're going to do a little role play now of how I stop people in the street, and we can learn from that, inshallah, brothers and sisters. Well, obviously brothers give dawah in the street. I wouldn't suggest sisters give dawah in the street, but sisters hopefully can learn something from it, inshallah. This is exactly what happens in the videos. Now, when you watch the YouTube videos, you haven't seen this bit, because obviously, especially in Britain, we need to get their permission before we can start filming, because of information data and so on, data protection. So we can't film before we've got their permission. And obviously they won't give their permission until they've stopped. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. So once I've stopped the person, what I usually say is that, would you agree to be filmed? And obviously they don't want to be filmed, right? In the videos, how does it happen? They don't want to be filmed, and they say, no, I don't want to be filmed. I'll say to them, look, you're a Christian. They'll say, yes, I'm a Christian. I'll say, why don't you give your message of Christianity to the Muslims? Okay, there might be a pastor, there might be a priest, there might be a preacher, there might be just an ordinary Christian, whatever denomination of Christianity. And I say, why don't you give your message of Christianity to the Muslims? Then they agree to be filmed. You see the point? Or I say to them, you're an atheist? Okay, why didn't you tell us why it doesn't make sense to believe in God? In other words, why don't you give your dawah? I say, okay, fine. You see, now they think they're giving their message. Then we start filming, and 10, 20 minutes later, half an hour later, they do the shahada, Alhamdulillah. Okay, that's how it happens. That's the real world, because they don't want to be filmed. And in fact, some of them nowadays, they say, I'm not stopping. I've watched the videos. I know what happens. They stop and they become Muslim undoing it. And I get regular comments coming on the YouTube channel, regular comments coming up. I don't know, they do it as a joke. They put, yes, honey, I went down to the shops in North London and I bought a packet of crisps and I became a Muslim. Or I got a Coke and I become a Muslim as well. They put these comments regularly. I don't know why. They think it's funny. Okay, anyway, we'll do a role play now, inshallah, and then we can see how we stop people. Excuse me, my friend, important message about the purpose of life.
No, sorry, I'm not interested, mate.
Sorry, one second. Are you a Christian, my friend?
Yeah, I am.
Christian. Sorry, can I ask you a question about Jesus?
How long is it going to take long?
Just one question about Jesus.
Right, far away.
Okay. The question I'd like to ask you, my friend, is a really important question. The important thing is, brothers and sisters, is to act as if I'm totally random. It's not suddenly, it's a contrived question. Sorry, the question I want to ask you, my friend, sorry, because you're a Christian, sorry. Can I ask you your name, my friend?
Yeah, it's Terry.
Terry, Terry, the question I want to ask you, Terry, is that, as you know, as a Muslim, I always get confused about this, is, do you believe Jesus is God, or do you believe Jesus was somebody sent by God? And emphasizing God and sent by God.
Well, Jesus is God, isn't it?
Jesus is God, my God, fine. Sorry, that sounds really interesting, because Muslims didn't realise all Muslims don't realise that you believe that Jesus is God. Is it possible we film this, mate, because we could learn something from what you're saying, because Muslims don't know exactly what Christians believe in. So do you mind if you film this, mate?
It's not going to be shown on Sky News or anything like that, is it?
No, not Sky News, mate. You might get a few million watching on YouTube, mate, but no, Sky News, no, mate. We don't like Sky News anyway, it's not a problem, mate. Okay, fine, okay. Right, brothers, quick camera, stand, put the camera stand, right. Okay, right. Should we stop there? I think that's it, yeah? We're not doing the whole conversation, but that's how we start, okay? So we just do another role play with atheists. Now he's going to be an atheist, okay? And what I'm going to do. Right. So my friend, important message about the purpose of life, mate. Sorry, my friend, do you believe in God or anything? Are you Christian?
Yeah, I believe in God, yeah, but...
I thought you were an atheist, mate. So you look like an atheist.
I'm just saying it just to make you happy.
Do you believe in God?
No, I don't believe in God.
You don't believe in God? Okay, fine, okay.
So I just thought...
Sorry, can I just prove to you God exists, mate?
No, I haven't really got the time.
No, sorry, it takes 2 minutes, mate. No, sorry, 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
No, sorry. Okay, 2 minutes, mate. 2 minutes to prove to you God exists.
What,
you don't think you can do that? 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes I can prove to you that God exists.
In 2 minutes?
In 2 minutes, mate.
Far away.
Okay, brilliant. Now, there are actually 4 pieces of... Sorry, my friend, now, before I start, I'm going to ask his sort of how educated is he or whatever, his background, some idea. So what do you do, my friend? You...
I'm an IT consultant.
IT consultant? Right, Jazak-Allahu-Khairan for the brother, very kind of the brother. He's in something to do with medical, apparently, but he's pretending to be an IT consultant. That was totally unrehearsed, brothers and sisters, so I wasn't sure what he was going to say. I'm sure he didn't know what I was going to say, but the point here that I'm trying to make is that when you're stopping people in the street, if they say they're Christian, you're going to talk about Jesus. Okay, you can ask them, can I ask you a question about Jesus? And if they say that they don't believe in God, I don't believe in God, mate, right, there's no such thing as God, and then what I'm going to say to them is, I can prove to you God exists. Okay, and they're still probably going to walk away, but they say, look, I can prove to you in 5 minutes. And if you say that sort of thing, you put forward a challenge, they're interested in listening. You think, okay, this guy thinks so clever, he can prove God exists in 5 minutes, and I've spent my whole life, and I've looked at the evidence, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, so they stopped. Now what happens is once they stop, it's not a problem, brothers, if you can't explain in 5 minutes, it's not a problem, because once you start, and we're going to go through systematically what you're going to say to them, inshallah, you'll find that they are prepared to listen because it doesn't make sense. The great difficulty is stopping people, and one of the very experienced brothers said to me, and I have the same difficulty as well, normally, but once they stop and they start listening, it's very likely, inshallah, they will become Muslim. It takes all sorts of time, by the way. It can take 10 minutes. I mean, we've had brother here was in the audience yesterday, Brother Zakaria, who was Patrick, and if you watch the videos, he became a Muslim in 6 minutes, alhamdulillah, and it's totally genuine and unrecorded and unrehearsed and so on, as this particular role play was, and he became Muslim, alhamdulillah. He's very practicing, mashallah, if you can see on his follow-up video. Sometimes, however, you have to be prepared. It can take a lot longer. It can take an hour, it can take 2 hours, it can take 3 hours. I'll give you an example. On one occasion, I was at the dawah table. In fact, our tables have now been removed by the police. After the YouTube videos became so popular, for some reason, they suddenly came along and said, sorry, these tables have to be removed. We still give the dawah, we still have our banners there, and alhamdulillah, we still have many people taking shahada, alhamdulillah. This was now, they removed about a couple of years ago, the tables. So many people are still becoming Muslims, alhamdulillah. On one occasion, when the tables were there, this was sort of more than 2 years ago, a little story here. we actually had a couple of chairs there. We had these sort of tables and we had chairs, and we sat down, and I was speaking to one person, and this lady comes along and says that, oh, Islam is a bad religion, and I'm not going to repeat the words, but she started saying bad things about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, okay, abusive stuff. And I thought, this is shouting in the street, in High Street in Northwest London. I thought, I can't have this. This is, this sounds really bad, of sort of abusive language she's using. So this person I was speaking with, and they were sitting down, I said to the person, if you just hang on a moment, please, let me just speak to this other person who's shouting lots of abuse against Islam and against the beloved Prophet, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I went to her and I started saying to her that, the story is this. I started saying to her, sorry, you're a Christian? Can I ask you a question about Jesus? Standard question. And she said, okay, no. She said, Islam is a bad religion, many bad things, okay. She's got some relatives that are Muslims or something. I said to her, the standard question about Jesus, and I said, do you believe Jesus is God, or do you believe he was sent by God? And she's actually preaching as well, apparently. And she said to me that I believe he is somebody sent by God. And she's a preacher. But she was very abusive about Islam. Unusual, but it does happen sometimes. I said to her that, look, Christianity doesn't say this, but actually it's the Muslim view about Jesus, that Jesus was somebody sent by God. In fact, Islam is the only major religion which says this. Jehovah's Witnesses also say this, but they have some other beliefs which we'll deal with later on, inshallah. Okay, how we deal with Jehovah's Witnesses. But on this particular occasion, she was a Christian, and she said to me, I believe that Jesus is not God, but he's somebody sent by God. And I said, that's not the Christian view, that's actually, I'm really sorry, we have to apologize, but actually that's the Islamic view, the Muslim view of Jesus. Peace be upon him. So she said, no, it isn't. She said, let me check with my pastor. Okay, and I remember his name. His name was Nick. She phones the guy, and from the abuse, now she's actually having a conversation. Started off with abusing the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Islam, and now she's having a conversation. She says, she phoned this guy, and she says, Nick, is it true that we believe that Jesus is God? And the guy speaks to her. I don't know what he said to her, but this is the conversation. She goes, hi Nick, is it true that we believe that Jesus is God? Oh, it is true. Okay. She turns to me. Yes, sorry. Yes, we do believe Jesus is God. She's a preacher. She doesn't even know this. Okay. She said, okay, we do believe Jesus is God. Okay, fine. And this is the conversation. She goes, oh, don't worry. I'm not going to get converted or anything. I'm just speaking to this guy. He's really interesting. He's a Muslim. No, don't worry. I'm not getting converted or anything. I'm not becoming a Muslim. This is the conversation on the mobile phone. I don't hear the other side, but I hear one side. Don't worry. I'm going to become Muslim. Yes, he's a very interesting guy. I think it's fine, but he's just got some points. I'm just learning about it, and we don't. Okay, fine. So she turns to me and says, no, Jesus is not. Jesus is God. We believe Jesus is God. I said, look, he can't be God, because he said he doesn't know everything in the Bible. He can't be God because he said the Father, which is God, is greater than I. He said, of myself I can do nothing. All power has been given to me. All this evidence. And it's like, she keeps going backwards and forward with the evidence. She goes, Nick, this guy says, she's speaking to a pastor. He's a pastor, by the way. She goes, Nick, this guy says Jesus can't be God because he didn't know everything. Oh, it's much more complicated. Okay, fine. She goes, no, it's much more complicated than that. You can't really understand it. It's all sort of a bit of a mystery. So what I say to them is, I'm sorry, it's not mystery. It's actually history. It was 300 years after Jesus. It's history, not mystery. But anyway, so I said, no. And then she keeps going backwards and forwards. And after a while, okay, we need to stop for our prayers and we'll continue afterwards, inshallah. Jazak-Allahu-Khairan for listening. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول